So, good. Very anxious.
I would like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone that's in attendance here, and also those who are viewing by YouTube. In the past, I've heard some comments from citizens who are trying to view it on YouTube that they're having trouble understanding. So I would just encourage each one of us to use our microphones and to speak as clearly and distinctly as we can. And they also mentioned ruffling the papers, and we'll try and keep that in. But welcome everyone, and we're ready to start our meeting. The first order of business on the agenda is the broadband update by Kendra Hayden.
So recently, the broadband management team made their final recommendations for our planning and goals for our expansion process for the DHC planning grant and also for the future of broadband expansion. I had to include that in your packet. I did a summary sheet because the full-length document is quite lengthy, but it includes maps and some other information that you might want to review at a later time. But essentially, this document that you guys need to approve tonight will allow us to go further into our planning grant and into our added grant for future grant, or excuse me, future broadband expansion. Some of the items include the approach that we'll take, the adoption and usage, how it will affect residential and business demand, schools and libraries, public safety, and then of course what the county will include as far as budgetary contributions and things of that nature. If anybody has any specific questions, I can answer them, or have time to review it, you can adopt it or however you would like to proceed.
I would just like to commend the group. It's a very comprehensive plan. It has some good goals and measurements for those goals. So I think that you can do a good job with it.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion to go ahead and adopt this.
We have a motion on the floor to adopt, and second by Roscoe Call. Are you going to do a roll call then, or just show of hands? Okay. All right. Let's do the old way. I know it's hard to get back into it. All right, so we'll now have a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the mutual aid and cooperation agreements for law enforcement services with Sheriff Schuler.
I'm just here to answer any questions if you have any. These are just our run-of-the-mill mutual aid with some other counties. I think these are Washington and we're just trying to get them where they need up to date. This allows us to work in our county and then work in ours.
Is that kind of just the brief sweep?
That's a brief of it. We do a lot of time in towns and so we try to get every county practices.
Board members, as you know, there are several pages here giving detailed information. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chairman, I had one quick follow-up. I think you may have addressed it just then, Sheriff Schuler. You mentioned the Washington County and Tazewell County. Do we have the similar agreements with as well in Grayson?
You may be seeing those coming up for renewal.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Generally, if the sheriffs are all the same, we try to read them.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion to approve this.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Lori, and we have a second by Charlie Atkins. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Sheriff Schuler. Next on the agenda is the school board budget. Welcome, Dr. Carter.
Thank you very much. May I pass out packets?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me a few minutes to share the Smyth County School Board for FY '21 with you today. I would like to begin by just sharing our gratitude and thanks for the working relationship with the Smyth County Board of Supervisors and the Smyth County School Board and our funding public education through Smyth County. We're proud of our school system, as I know you all are proud of our school system as well. We accomplish a lot of things every year. This year, we've accomplished something that we thought we may never have to, and that was switching to a full virtual instruction for our youngsters, and also providing meals on a 48-hour notice for all of our community, all of our students within the 452 square miles of Smyth County. And that was a heavy lift, but it was accomplished through a lot of hard work and a lot of care and a lot of compassion by our employees, our teachers, our transportation supervisor, our bus drivers, our custodial staff, our administrators, our teachers. Everyone rallied to make that happen in Smyth County. So I stand before you humbled. I stand before you proud, and I think the pride resonates from all of us in Smyth County, being able to provide these services for our youngsters as we've transitioned through the COVID-19 crisis. The budget before you is again balanced with revenue and expenditures. I do want to speak a little bit about the revenue side and then the expenditure side, and then talk some about the accolades of Smyth County Schools and some of the accomplishments that we have made. As we begin, I do want to turn to page 8 and look at student achievement. And I would like to highlight our State Superintendent James Lane and the State Board of Education has designated all schools in the Commonwealth as accreditation waived going into the next academic year. As you know, we were unable to complete the SOL testing, so all schools throughout the Commonwealth will have the accreditation waived status. Typically, I would not do this, but if you see at the bottom of page 8, we did do a tribute to our graduates in 2020, and it's a unique tribute there with a mask on, illustrating how graduation did proceed in Smyth County Schools. So again, we're proud of our graduates. The next page, and I promise you I won't go page by page, but there are several pages I would like to highlight as illustrations as we move through the budget book. But our average daily membership, this year we budgeted, our current year that we're in now, we budgeted for 4,074 students, and we're budgeting for 4,032 for the next academic year. And you can see the trend analysis at the bottom of the page. We're seeing a downward trend in our student enrollment. That's not a Smyth County issue. That's not a Southwest Virginia issue. We're seeing that across the nation with membership trends. Some anomalies, but for the most part, we're seeing the membership declining throughout. The next page I would like to highlight is page 16, and this is our revenue budget, and it includes where our funding actually comes from. State revenue, $28,807,106. This is an increase of $1,221,051 from the current year. So moving ahead into FY '21, we're seeing an increase of $1.2 million. Local revenue, historically, over the past 3 or 4 years, we have received $7,815,575 from the locality. We are requesting $400,000 additional dollars for FY '21. Federal revenue, based on all indicators that we have received so far, will be level at $5,529,055. State sales tax, I would like to highlight for a minute. You see a reduction in state sales tax of $598,184. You as a locality, you are dealing with the same issues we are when you're looking at predicting sales tax revenue coming in. Our calculation templates that have been provided by the Department of Education show no reduction in state sales tax, although we're being told prepare for it. So what the steps we have taken has been, we don't feel it's aggressive, we feel it's precautionary and appropriate. we're withholding 15% of our state sales tax dollars in preparation of the impact of COVID-19 on sales tax revenue throughout FY21. We also have CARES Act funds, as I know you all have received as well. And we're using some of those funds, our funds for CARES Act is $1.1 million. You won't see that in the budget. And the rationale for that is this. We're using approximately $500,000 of those funds to purchase, to help build a more robust technology infrastructure, to help our online presence with the end user devices, whether it be Chromebooks or iPads, and also helping to build a more robust infrastructure to help those students who do not have internet access, whether it be through socioeconomic issues, they can't afford the internet service, or if they live in a geographic area where they cannot have access to internet access, which we know that's a concern for Smyth County and a lot of Southwest Virginia. So helping to navigate those issues. So if you look at the $1.1 million, we reserve $500,000 for that, and we're also preserving $600,000 for the end of 21 as a security measure in case revenue projections fall even lower than we anticipate with state sales tax. So the budget plan that before you, we feel again is conservative, but we also feel it's precautionary as we move forward to help meet the needs to not only begin FY21, we've got to end it as well, and we have to maintain salaries. So we do have plans and contingency plans just in case as we move forward. The other revenue, you see an increase of $181,509, and that's various areas within the budget. If you look on page 18 and 19, it's a breakdown of revenue from all sources for Smyth County schools. Or those lines, but I can address any question that you have regarding anything on those pages. If you'll turn to page 21, this is our expenditure budget. This is how the funds will be expended by Smyth County School Board through appropriation of the Smyth County Board of Supervisors. In instruction, we see an increase of $630,722, bringing the total in instruction to $35,686,768. And all that is tied to insurance and benefits, which I'll highlight in just a minute. Administration, an increase of $14,251. Transportation, an increase of $33,088, bringing the total of transportation to $2,546,120. Facilities, I would like to highlight just a minute. You'll see an increase there of $154,076, bringing the total to $4,494,531. Two reasons for that increase in facilities. One, it is we have been asked by the Department of Education to shift our salaries for school resource officers. And in our budget, we budget $132,000 for school resource officers. So we've been asked to move that from instruction to facilities. So that's a natural move of $132,000. Additionally, we're seeing our security grant from the Department of Ed has increased. It increased in FY20, and our hopes are that it will increase in 21 as well. And we've put additional funds there to handle the revenue and expenditure. So obviously the revenue decreases, the expenditure side will too. They would affect both sides of the budget. And food service, $3,773,795, a reduction of $28,711. And I would like to highlight, and I spoke with the budget committee of the board of supervisors last week. This is our first year with community eligibility provision, all of our students eating at no cost breakfast and lunch, and it is just a phenomenal program helping a lot of families. And the predictability became very difficult after March the 13th. So this number, while we feel we're fairly solid, there may be some alterations as the year progresses based on the delivery of foods. For example, in the month of April, we delivered and served 106,000 meals to students in Smyth County. So as we transition into the start of next academic year, whether it be virtual or traditional instruction, that may impact our budget within food service as we move forward. So again, a precautionary look and the best predictor that we can use moving into FY21. And then with technology, you see an increase of $37,932, bringing the total to $1,432,661. Now, we'd like to highlight before we move on, the impact that the additional revenue and expenditure will make on Smyth County schools. As you know, coming out of last budget season, and I spoke to this, I think, at the public hearing, that our Smyth County School Board had formed a committee of teachers to examine the teacher salary scale. And I've got to admit, that was probably one of the most enjoyable committees that I have served on. We had Mr. Todd Williams, who is a board member for us, serve on the committee as board representation, and several teachers from all different groups. You had a beginning teacher, a teacher at step 5, step 10, step 15, 20, 25, and 30, and beyond the teachers here. And a lot of great dialogue. And as you know, our salary scale, if you look at a traditional salary scale, what you would expect, there would be an upward trajectory. That was our goal. And when our salary scale last year, and again, our plan was, say, 3% at the top of the scale, a plot from top to bottom. That was an intent, which we implemented. And what it created was a lull. It created a lull midstream with our salary scale. So we devised a plan to really fix that, and it looked beautifully. State budget coming out from governor's budget, General Assembly looked great. We were going to be able to implement. We were looking at significant salary increases with the salary scale, really for everyone, and then COVID-19. So we reacted accordingly. The beauty of the work that was completed by the teachers and the staff at central office and board members was it was scalable. It was, you could reduce it by half and it's still fix your problem. You could reduce it by a quarter and it's still fix your problem. And based on revenue projections from the state, and again with the additional $400,000 from the locality, we're able to do a third of our original plan. And I did share with the budget committee last week those numbers and comparisons. In the middle of the salary scale, you're seeing a 3.8, around 3.8% salary increase for teachers. Beginning of the teacher salary, it's very minimal. But keep in mind, over the past couple of years, we have infused several dollars there to fix the beginning of the salary scale. And you'll see that grow from a minimalistic approach to 3.8% around step 15, 16. So again, with the help of the group, we'll have a third of our overall intent. But again, it fixes our issue with the trajectory of the salary scale. I would also like to highlight, as you know, the governor has unallotted funds. And if you think about an unallotment, it means I have it, but I'm not giving it to you at this point. You're just going to hold on to it, maybe later. And right now, that's what we're hoping for, is that the state will rebound. State budgets will look better. We know the General Assembly will pull back together in August, is what we're hearing. And at that point, based on revenue projections, some of those funds may be reallocated to school divisions. So I'm presenting the budget to you with the caveat of I may be back additional state funds that are intended for school systems to be allocated and appropriated to Smyth County schools. So we're presenting without those funds, but in hopes I will be back to see you. Again, a third of the salary scale. The second thing is an increase a nurse from part-time to full-time at Chilhowie Elementary School. And again, we base that strictly on data. And it's the number of kids and number of visits to the school nurse. So there we have part-time, and it's just not meeting the needs of their students. So increasing that position from part-time to full-time. We did have an instructional aid position that, due to some needs of a youngster, some special needs of a youngster, we need to hire an additional instructional aid and also increase an aid from part-time to full-time in two separate situations. And increase substitute pay to $95 per day for a retiree from Smyth County Schools, which is a $15 per day increase, and that will hopefully help solve some of our issues with finding substitutes for our classrooms. Additionally, within the budget, you'll find that there is a $28 per pay period per insurance plan additional contribution. We were fortunate this year to receive a 0% increase for local choice. So we did build into the budget an additional $28 per month per plan to help lower our insurance costs. And just to remind you, we have 3 plans. We have a $500 and $1,000 high deductible, and we offer an employee only, a +1, and a family plan. So that would apply to all facets, $28 additional per plan. And something new that we're very excited about, and I think it's very fitting for Southwest and really any career technical education center, but starting an HVAC program at the Career Center and hiring a part-time position there. So while we had high aspirations going into the FY '21 budgets, those are the things that we are able to accomplish with the state funds coming in, the precautionary approach with state sales tax withholding, and additional contributions from the Board of Supervisors. I would also like to highlight the debt service component for Smyth County Schools. We see a slight decrease of $1,522. This is on page 25. So we are seeing a slight reduction, and there's several projects that we are working collectively to pay off in Smyth County Schools, but a slight reduction, bringing the total to $2,191,042. And I would like to take just one more minute to highlight a couple of things. Smyth County Schools, we have 657 full-time employees, 63 part-time. This is up down on page 30. 204 teachers and administrators have their master's degree, which is 46.2% of our teaching staff. 460 of our employees participate in our insurance program. And the budget does include a step raise at a minimum for all employees. So we spoke about teachers. All other areas will receive a step raise, a traditional step raise within their salary scale. One additional component is that, as you know, minimum wage starting May 1, 2021 will increase to $9.50 per hour. We will reflect that in our contracts that go out to employees. They'll receive, those that fall below the $9.50 threshold will receive a step raise for the first portion of the year, and when we transition to May 1, that will increase to the $9.50, and the steps above will grow incrementally to keep the separation. On page 31, a couple of highlights. Again, we drive approximately 2,682 miles a day. We haul approximately 2,100 students, and we drive over 482,000 miles a year. We also operate 12 cafeterias. Average number of breakfast meals per day, 1,400. Average number of lunch meals, 2,878. Total number of meals served yearly, 770,000, slightly under. So a lot of activity and a lot of hard work and dedication in Smyth County Schools. On page 32, to highlight a couple of the initiatives, or some of the initiatives that we have going on currently. And in fact, I think everyone in the room here has been, the school system has been involved in meetings all day long, tying to one or more of these initiatives. The curriculum recovery teams due to COVID-19, identifying the skill gaps that we missed from March the 13th and incorporating them into next year. Establishing online and packet-based program for education from March the 13th to the close of the year. We, beginning next year, we will have a one-to-one device initiative for all kids, including our pre-K students, in the preparation of starting virtually if we have to. Again, our hopes are that we start traditionally, we have to prepare just in case. So we'll look at, we are purchasing iPads for pre-K, kindergarten, and first, and Chromebooks for grades 2 through 12. Online learning management system selection and implementation, we should have that solidified within the next week and purchased. Professional development and virtual learning, establishing a trauma responsive school community, which looks entirely different from the virtual world. So our job is to help our students that are in difficult situations overcome and succeed. And our teachers are phenomenal in reaching our students and make that happen. So looking at that virtually will require some additional training. And establishment of internships with the Ignite program, which we will have youngsters working with us that are high school students and being paid through the Ignite program through United Way of Southwest Virginia this upcoming academic year, or this summer. Expansion of our alternative education program at the middle school, and hopes to, as we continue to look at an alternative education program at the elementary level. And we'd like to celebrate our on-time graduation rate of 95.3, which is one of the best in the So again, I circle back. I want to reiterate, I stand before you with immense pride in Smyth County Schools. I am thankful to serve in this position, and I am completely in awe of the efforts of our instructional staff and everyone on our team that's meeting the basic needs of our communities. You try to find the silver lining in a crisis, and the silver lining, I believe, in this is the weaving of the fabric of our community and pulling together to help others. So again, I come to you for any questions you may have regarding the budget that I just presented.
I just have one question. Explain to me about the Ignite program.
Sure.
Let me remember.
Yes, ma'am. New program, Ignite program through United Way of Southwest Virginia. And our board approved, I want to say 5 months ago, to hire interns to the Ignite program. And we have a policy in Smith County Schools that you have to be 21 years old to work for Smith County Schools or be in a program through college, community college, higher education, and have 2 years completed in pursuing a career in education. We have altered that policy somewhat for this Ignite program. It's really utilizing our current students. You have to be 16 years old, and you come and work, like Terry Hawthorne, our technology director. We have 2 students that will be working with him. We have 6 positions that we'll be hiring for. Actually, our last date to hire is tomorrow. Yeah, it's tomorrow. So we have advertising. We're hoping that we do receive enough interest to fill our 6 positions. But it's a great program, brand new. And we do have 6 positions to help them understand the educational world from a different angle.
Thank you.
Yes,
Any other questions? Mr. Campbell?
Yes, sir. My question would be referring around the capital outlay.
yes, sir.
And with the current conditions that we're facing economically nationwide, has there been any hesitation or appetite to look at potentially refinancing it in some fashion? If not now, maybe
Sure.
kind of put your finger on the pulse of how the interest rates may go. And
Yeah, that's a great question, Dr. Rabbit. And we actually spoke with the budget committee about that. That's not something that we do, but we follow your lead. If there's a restructuring, it's a cosign type approach, but that's a charge that's on the board of supervisors that will gladly help you pursue different angles of low interest rate. Absolutely.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion, board members?
Madam Chairman, I just wanted to let you all know how much we appreciate you stepping in during this pandemic. Everybody's trying to swim in uncharted waters, and we just appreciate the adjustments that you made and the teams that you put together to make sure that our students were served. And it was particularly heartwarming to me to make sure that all our children were fed, because I know some of them don't eat unless they eat from school. So thank you all for making sure.
It's our honor.
Well, and also I'd like to commend you because we had a conversation last year over the gap in some of the salary skills. And I know it's not going to be done all at once, but I'm hearing a lot of positive things from the teachers, especially in that 14 years. Thank you so much for addressing that and for being all inclusive with all the different players. I think you presented us a very good budget.
COVID-19 has definitely proven that teachers are way more valuable than anybody ever calls. So.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to make 2 comments if I may. Madam Chairman. First, you failed to mention page 29, which I think is key to your
Well, I
presentation. there.
sure.
And that, the number he said went up to 8.2 million of local funds, but that's the least increase of local funds that we've paid in the last 15 years, I guess it is. I appreciate the fact that y'all took the time and effort to work with us on that.
And a couple of things, and if you will turn to page 29, and this is a page that I can talk about for hours, and I know that I don't have hours. I don't want to monopolize your time, but if you look at page 29, that is a required local effort, and that's the funding formula that's provided by the state. And required local effort dictates to localities the amount that they have to put toward public education. And historically, we've been funded around 115%. That's always been the goal, to be 115%. And what's interesting about the FY21 budget is we see a huge increase in the required local effort. So if we were to maintain the $7.8 million that we have over the past 3 or 4 years, that would put us at about 103% of the required local effort. So a substantial drop in contribution proportionally, if you look at the percentage. The budget before you, we were able to accomplish a lot. Again, precautionary and moving forward, but with the increase of $400,000, we are still, thank you, Mr. Atkins, for pointing that out, we are still at 108% of required local effort. And I would like to, I told the budget committee this, any additional funds would be appreciated. And we will gladly earmark those for insurance contribution or salary scale adjustments. So again, thank you for pointing that out.
I just think it was important.
Yes.
And my second comment, and getting serious now, since your pre-K and kindergartners are getting iPads, a lot of grandparents will finally learn how to use them.
Yes, sir.
That's true.
Yes, sir.
Again, thank you. I appreciate your staff and board members with you. Would you like to introduce them? I have it.
Sure, I would like to. We have Ms. Julie Bear, Finance Director, Dr. Chris Ballinger, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Kyle Rhodes, is Board Member, Mr. Mike Sturgill, Curriculum and Instruction Director,
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
and Testing Director. He wears many hats. Mike has to wear. Thank you for allowing us to come and present.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for this.
Next on the agenda is Smyth County Public Library. Yes, Virginia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. So what dates?
June 9th,
June 9th?
we have 5 o'clock, that pleases the board. We have a public hearing that night at 6 and 6:15 for the Commonwealth and Return Festival. So if you'd like to do it at 5, that would precede the other 2 public hearings.
Do you want to start the committee? Or do we want to do our preliminary work before we get them involved?
Should we say 5:15, but they're in some time for?
It is, maybe 5:30. 5:30 on June 6th. 9th.
Need a motion to set a public hearing.
Do we have a motion?
So,
Is there a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? The motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is Smyth County Public Library. And as many of you know, over 3 years ago, the decision was made to disband the Smyth Regional Library and to reorganize it in a place that was Smyth County Public Library. At that time, going from a 7-member library board representing each district in Smyth County to a 5-member at-large library board, the least number allowed by the Code of Virginia, Section 42.2-35. During the past 3 years, large numbers of concerned local citizens have appealed repeatedly to the previous Board of Supervisors to reinstate a 7-member library board to provide better equity and representation of respective districts on the library board. This is still a primary concern and issue for local citizens, and it's to be considered tonight at our board meeting this time. Is there any discussion?
I'll make a motion that we do it, and then we can have a discussion. But I move that we go back to 7-member library board with each district having 1 representative on that board.
Okay, and is there a day, like July?
July 1, and then I'll see them come here.
So we have a motion to reinstate 7-member library board by July 1. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Dr. Rattler seconds it. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
I'm for 7, but I hate to restrict it to just one district. If we can come up with somebody good out of that district, we can do it, but if we can't, somebody better can serve. I'd like to leave a loophole where they can, if we can find some district that maybe all the time the right person to serve. So I don't want, I just want to try and say is I hate to make it district specific.
So 7 or non-district specific.
7-member board, but not district specific. It's all Smith County, just Wayne County.
So do you want to amend your motion, Thomas? No.
Vote it down.
Okay.
What districts are represented now? Do we have 2 on district or anything like that?
Not at the current time. In fact, we had just gotten it back up to 5-member board with the recent appointment by the Atkins district. And then we had a resignation from the Willow district that takes it back to
That's
5.
what I heard, that's why I asked. But
Yeah. So,
Positions, non-district positions.
so I think there's going to be an appointment
And then so there's one in Atkins, there's one in
There will be one tomorrow. Well, Atkins is filled, right?
Yeah, there's got one in that.
Okay. Well, so we're ready to go ahead and start to make
So
our.
each district will be represented.
Yes, and right now you have our small, with Bridgely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Doing a great job.
so if the other members are ready to make their appointments.
do we want to amend it?
Okay,
Yeah,
we got a motion on the floor,
Yes.
and you don't want to amend that motion?
I understand it, but I don't, vote it down, we'll try it again if we need to.
Okay, so we have a motion just to return to 7-member board, district specific. Is that correct? We have a second to that motion, is that correct? All in favor? Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. So we can do those nominations later when we're doing appointments, is that
Or we
okay?
can do it now.
Or if you want to do it now? What's the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chairman, I believe, I don't know what the documents are now that appoint the members, but that document's gonna have to be amended to conform with your motion you just passed.
Okay.
So I think you should wait for that document to come before the board and actually do the amended documents and then do the appointments. You want to appoint the 7, that's fine.
Yes.
But it's your pleasure, whatever you guys want to do, but I think you should do the amended documents of how those people, wherever paragraph needs to be changed. And then once that's done, the board approves the amended document, and then you make your appointments.
Yeah, so the vacant seats that need to be filled now for the 5-member board, go ahead and fill those seats so they can go on operating.
Right.
And then do the document and appoint the last two seats that would be it.
But if you have 2 members from the same district, somebody's got to come off that board.
I
You
think
can
we're
appoint
gonna,
5.
we're not gonna have that issue, I don't think.
Well, I don't know if you do or not, I just wanted to point that out, that if you appoint new people now, and you got 2 people in the same district, once you pass that amendment,
Yeah.
you're going to have to remove somebody.
So currently, we don't have
Okay.
that issue.
Not yet, because my person resigned, so that seat's open.
Yeah.
And then what?
But you didn't have a district before.
She's resigned, right?
Yeah,
So
end of June.
both of them, both of our appointments are just to fill boards
Within the same district.
within the same district, right? So Wade's would be replaced with mine would be replaced, and that would, the document have to be amended based on that, correct?
I haven't seen the documents. My understanding is, it sounds like your document says you have a 5-member board.
And our 2 appointments would still be the 5-member board, because his is resigning and mine already resigned.
So you have 3 members now, so.
Actually, with my representative resigning and took it back down to 4, so you're gonna just go ahead and fill your district now with your appointment, rather than me going down.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
My appointment and Wade's appointment was May 5,
And they don't overlap.
and they don't overlap. Because Wade only has 1, right?
In fact, yours will be fulfilling an unexpired term, and they will be able to serve another 2 terms if so improved. So, okay, so do we want to,
Yeah, I think we're just doing a point while we're talking.
okay,
So Wade, you would go first before that's fine.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Jim Payne of QI.
I'll second.
how do you spell his name, Wade? That's okay. Is it
CAI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so Payne like out.
Is there a second to that motion?
Okay, it's got filtered.
Oh, okay. So the motion, we have a second. All in favor? Any opposed? So the motion passes unanimously. So we're gonna do all of them tonight?
Just mine and
Okay.
Wade's to make 5. You get stuck up to the 5, and then after we do the documents, then we'll go to 7.
Okay, Jeannie is on here till the end of June.
Mine's not.
No,
Mine's
yours
yours.
isn't. Well, because you're replacing them, yeah.
Right. So we still have.
Go ahead, Laura. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Miss Donna Rupert Greer to the library board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? It passes unanimously. Okay. Next on the agenda is the budget committee recommendation. It's Charlie Atkins.
Last year.
It's on 32.
Reading from the minutes at the end of that meeting, Robb Valley District Supervisor Lori Dale made a motion to approve the budget transfer request of $20,000 from solid waste fuel line item into the landfill maintenance item for improvements at the scale house at landfill. Roll Oak District Supervisor Judy White second, and the motion passed unanimously. So that's the motion before the board to transfer some money for the scale house.
Is there any discussion?
I just have a question.
Okay.
Is it, are we doing that ourselves or contracting it out or? Okay.
We looked at it both ways, and it was just cheaper doing it in-house.
Basically, we're buying a prefab shed and putting it in there on a concrete slab and doing it that way.
It's electrical and HVAC.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the budget committee. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next, we have a report from the ordinance committee by Roscoe Call.
Madam Chairman, the ordinance committee met today at 4. With, Sir Schuler present, he presented for consideration to amendment to Smyth County, Virginia Code of Ordinance Division, a cost assessment increase for prisoner processing, which would go from $10 to $20, which has not been done for, I think, Charles, at 14 years, wasn't it, Charles? So it's well overdue, and it's a committee recommendation, but we need to set a public hearing for it.
Okay, so what date?
June 9th.
June 9th.
All of those on June.
Yeah, it was, the time, I know, I'm not getting out of the blocks, but the time has to be set.
I'll say 6:30.
6:30.
So you have one at 5:30, 6:15, 6:30
Okay,
for that day.
all right.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing for Tuesday, June 9th at 6:30 p.m.
We have a motion, we have a second. Roscoe is second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the EMS committee update by Lori Gill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. We had an EMS committee prior to this board meeting. This has been an ongoing discussion for 4 or 5 years now. I know about a year and a half ago, ad hoc committee was formed to discuss a plan moving forward on how EMS is handled in the county. That committee has not presented a solid plan to our EMS committee on the board. At this time, we had some discussion today about some of the areas that are lacking in service. And we really want to look at how we're using county funding to fund it efficiently. So we did not walk out of the red with the plan today. However, we do have an understanding of where all the towns kind of stand on what they want to do, what they don't want to do. So we're hoping to move into this year with a realistic budget and supporting the nonprofit entities and the town operated entities efficiently, and then moving forward, figuring out how we're going to operate EMS, potentially maybe as a countywide system or something better, but
So it will be fine-tuned.
it will be fine as we move forward, and it's going to have to be like a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan. but the discussion is still ongoing.
Thank you for that update, Lori. Next is an RFP results for voter registrar's office by Mr. Sosnick.
This is just a brief update. Period for proposals have expired and we've received three. This will go before the building and grounds committee. We'll get back to you all with recommendation on that.
Thank you. We do have close, well, let's see. Yeah, you have an appointment.
Yes, Madam Chairman, the appointment to the VHCC board, I would like to make a recommendation for Ms. Alma Rowland to serve in that position. She's a retired dean from Virginia College Community College. She served there for 30+ years, so she's very knowledgeable about the community college system, and obviously her heart is at Virginia College Community College, so that she make a great fit for this board.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We do have closed session on our agenda. Okay. All right, I'm sorry, Scott, we won't have any counties report now. Did I steal the sheet? It wasn't on mine.
Just a brief report here, just so you know, this morning, the Virginia Supreme Court had made a ruling on the library case that had been pending for a while. I emailed a copy of that opinion to you earlier this afternoon. I have one copy with me that staff can probably make a copy of if someone wants a copy. The decision by the Virginia Supreme Court was to overturn the decision made by the circuit court. And it held that that board did not properly follow the FOIA regulations going into closed meetings. It remanded the issue of attorney fees back to circuit court for a decision. So we'll talk about that later when we get a chance to digest what's going on. But that opinion just came out this morning, so I want to make sure you guys are all aware of that. If you have any questions or if you can call me or send me an email, and I'll respond. That's all I have unless anyone has any questions. All right, I just want to give you that update.
Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the Southwest Virginia Regional Jail Authority, Mr. Seisman.
This comes as our, final support agreement and vote of the refinancing. And Mr. Atkins has spoken several different times about refinancing the debt for the jail. I can't remember the amount of savings, probably if you could remind me of what that is, but there's a large number of savings. This is just a vote on this final document that has us in support of that refinance.
All parties, 3.3 million of all the counties.
So, yeah, both 3.3 million in savings. It's just
That's great.
right time to do it. Savings of money, so a vote to the effect to approve this support agreement.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
So
Okay, I love when it's just eager to. All right, Charlie did the motion, and
I'll
Dr.
second.
Bradley, were you gonna second that? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. And now we have on the agenda closed session. Does the board want to take a quick break before closed session, or do you want to keep going? Keep going, all right. So we will now go into closed session. Do I have a motion for closed session?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to enter a closed session under code section 2.2-3711, A1 personnel matters, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or termination of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body.
Is there a second? All in favor? The board is now in closed session.
We're going to go on YouTube.